Hello, everybody. I'm David Campiti. Welcome to the 22nd anniversary of Glasshouse Graphics. I'd love to have a cake and ice cream, but I couldn't seem to share it with anybody over the screen, so thought I'd just do it this way. Glasshouse Graphics is, as I say, 22 years in the business. It got started when I was working with Innovation Publishing, a company that I had started way back in 1988, October of '88. And managed to raise financing for a publishing company of my own. I had, in the meantime, packaged a lot of books for a lot of other publishers. I wrote Superman back in the '80s, had written comics like Hero Alliance and a few other things for other publishers, and decided it was time to get into publishing. And as I found over the years, didn't like the spreadsheets part of it, but loved the creative end. So by the time 1993 rolled around, and I had been doing the innovation thing for 5 years just about, and had taken innovation from literally nowhere, a company that started out from the ground up, I got it up to number 4 in market share. So only Marvel, DC, Dark Horse were doing better than us at the time. And we went with a mixture of creator-owned properties and licenses, because licenses give a company immediate recognition. So we were doing, I did a Stephen King project. We did Jane Williamson's Masks horror anthology, thanks to Mort Castle, who brought me that project. So I got to work with Mort and Stephen King and Robert McCammon and wonderful folks like that, and a bevy of beautiful artists. Got into Lost in Space, Dark Shadows, Beauty and the Beast, Quantum Leap, and a whole lot of other things. Anne Rice's Vampire Lestat, a bunch of other fantasy, science fiction, and horror properties. But by March of '93, I was like, okay, enough of the publishing end. I wanted to work on the creative. So as a result, we were doing well with enough with that. But I decided I had built up this wonderful group of artists out of Brazil. We had Mike Deodato, we had Luke Ross, we had Joe Bennett, Marcelo Campos, and quite a few others. So I decided, all right, I'm going to make the attempt to be an agent. So March 11th, 1993, went out there and got started. So by March 12th, we had our first job. We were working on Green Hornet, which artist Joe Bennett got that assignment from Now Comics. Within a period of months, I had Mike Deodato working at Continuity Studios, and a whole bunch of artists starting throughout the different companies. Marvel and DC came a little later, months later, but we were doing work for Eclipse and Dark Horse, and still Innovation, because they were still going, and a number of others. I remember taking Mike Deodato to New York and being turned down by Marvel, being turned down by DC. Even Neil Adams at Continuity Studios turned him down. Neil Adams said, Deodato is a great artist, but he'll never be a superhero artist. Boy, did he prove them wrong. So he turned out to be a wonderful letterer, a wonderful designer, wonderful colorist. And he's been going strong for the entire 22 years that Glasshouse has been in business. A lot of our artists have stuck around quite a long time. Deodato was there from the inception. Luke Ross was with us at the very beginning. Joe Bennett was around quite a few years, as was the late, great Al Rio. Cliff Richards joined us soon after. Will Conrad joined us in 1997 and has been going strong. We've managed some very close relationships with artists all over the world. How close? Well, Mike Deodato and Will Conrad are godfathers to my daughter Jasmine. So I'd say we were doing pretty well, both as a company and in my personal life, because I've gotten to know so many wonderful and incredible people that are also terrific artists. It'd be people you'd want to know no matter what. By the year 2000, I had decided to expand Glasshouse Graphics into beyond Brazil and moved into the Philippines. Opened an office there in February of 2000, which is when I also met Meryl, who later became my wife. There's the old commercial for Norelco razors talking about Victor Kiam said, I like the company so much, or the razor so much, I bought the company. I like the artist so much, I married her. So been married 14 years as of May 5th. So I think that's pretty terrific. So any of you that are joining us who don't really know much about what Glasshouse Graphics is doing now, I'll give you a little rundown. Not only do we do comics, which is about half of our business, we also do just about anything else graphics related. Web design, if you want logos or other stuff to design for your company. We have a full animation service, so we can do not only the simpler Flash animation, but 2D animation and full CGI animation like most of the cartoons have these days. It's done with 2 partner studios in the Philippines, which is Top Peg Productions and Cutting Edge. Now, Cutting Edge was the company that I worked with for Nico Journey to Magica, which was a wonderful situation where a few years ago we wanted to prove that we could do more than just animation for commercials, putting our money where our mouth is, so to speak. So my partner there, Jesse, managed to raise the financing, and we launched development of a movie that was produced in the Philippines, starred the Philippine locales and Filipino characters, and was much about the culture of the Philippines, including all their myths and legends. And turned out pretty well for a first feature. We got an early version of it showcased at the Metro Manila Film Festival, where we won an award, and later got a nearly finished version of it into a film festival in New York, Tribeca. So now the finished version of the movie is out on Hulu.com. If you've not had a chance to see it, it's free. Go on to Hulu.com on your computer and just type in Nico, The Journey to Magica, and it'll come up as a free movie. How do we make money from it? Well, from commercials. They run commercials at the beginning, at the end, and during it, just like watching a TV show. If you are on a different device, like an iPad or something, you can sign up for Hulu Plus, and then you're able to watch it that way. So yeah, I hope it's just the first of many that we're going to be doing. He's also worked on an upcoming movie called El Americano. It's a full CGI, so you'll get to see what we can do with that. And we've got some other stuff in development. We're trying to get a Thundersars movie going. If anybody is curious about some of the stuff I'm talking about, we have links to these things. For example, I have up on YouTube a proof of concept video for Thundersars, so that you can get an idea what it is. Here, I will post for you the Thundersars link. So check that out. It's about 2.5 minutes long. Essentially, it's a video storyboard of the first chunk of the movie. We've gone so far as to do all the character designs, all the set designs. So we have a lot of graphics and presentation art finished. Plus, this shows you what the movie would feel like with some pretty rousing music that we think turned out pretty well. We're also in development for a live action feature. And we're working with a financier who wanted to get a film in development. So this one is called Forgotten Holocaust. It won't be animation. It'll be live action. It's sort of a religious film. It talks about the Simon Bar Kokhba revolt that was a couple of hundred years after the death and resurrection of Christ. And the story talks about 600,000 Jews that were brought together to fight the Romans. It was not a successful battle, that much is certain. And so we've taken this historical story and have done a proof of concept video, live action, much like directors in Hollywood do now. They'll take bits and pieces of other movies and we'll piece together as a showcase for financial people so that they understand what kind of movie is being pitched. I have a bit of stuff to show you, just to give you an idea of what's upcoming in the months and years to come with Glass House, and show you what we're doing now. A lot of you may not know that beyond the animation, beyond the regular comics that we do a heck of a lot of children's books for Disney and for DreamWorks. So here we go. This is one that didn't come out too long ago. Turbo, Need for Speed. It's a storybook and picture book. This is done for Reader's Digest children's books. And people wonder, what's it going to look like? Well, these things look exactly like the movies. Part of the services that we offer are to be able to color things so that they'll look exactly like the feature films. You've probably seen the recent movie Peabody and Sherman. So, of course, for Random House's golden books that has existed since any of us were kids, we're doing it. And once again, it looks just like the animation in the movie. Here's one, Frosty the Snowman. Now, this is also with DreamWorks, because DreamWorks controls the licensing, even though this is an old Rankin Bass animation for television from the 1960s. But our job, of course, was to make it look exactly like the old Rankin Bass animation. So, pretty cool. I can read this and I still hear the voices of the old cartoon in my head.
Maybe I could do the voices myself.
Yeah, but so anyhow, we do a lot of Disney. Here's Cinderella is My Babysitter. I don't know. Do you want Cinderella to be their babysitter? Well, sure. Why not? Here we go. Disney Princesses, A Cake to Bake. So again, in every case, we make it look exactly like you would expect Disney art to look. So because we have to draw everything right exactly on model. And that's one of our specialties. The artist for a lot of these is Fabio Laguna. Tina Francisco does a whole bunch of these as well. And if you wonder how complicated this sort of thing is, imagine this. I've gone to Disney Publishing for this sort of thing. And we'll go in, and this artwork, which we provide as digital files, they will blow up onto a 25-foot screen in their offices. And you have 5 or 6 people there, a production manager, an art director, a color manager, somebody from Pixar, and so on. And they will sit there looking at all this artwork blown up to these gigantic proportions and have little lights in their hand pointing with their lasers. Like, okay, this eye is 1/16th of an inch too far over to the left or to the right. Oh, this shade of red on page 4 doesn't precisely match the shade of red on page 27, and it has to look like it's done by the same person. So part of our job becomes making it so good, so right the first time, that the folks simply don't have to worry too much about it over at Disney. We make sure we get it right. So that makes Disney very happy. And so we keep getting scads and scads of jobs. So other things that Glass House has been doing recently, well, over the past couple of years, we've done an awful lot of graphic novels for the bookstore market. A lot of you would be familiar with the name David Lawrence, who I think is watching us today. He did this graphic novel, Fever Moon, wrote it from an outline by Karen Marie Monin, and of course it hit the bestseller list. Kim Harrison's Bloodwork. This is an all original Hollows graphic novel, which was done partly in Brazil and partly in the Philippines, and also hit the bestseller list. We do a lot of books that are for the educational market. They'll go into libraries, both public libraries and into schools. We do a whole line of books for Stone Arch, such as this one, Edgar Allan Poe's The Pit and the Pendulum. But we do many, many others. For that same publisher, Stone Arch Books, but a different division, we have things like this, Tony Hawk's 900 Revolution. And a lot of these aren't comic books necessarily. They'll be text pieces, and then we'll do either text illustrations or they'll have comic book pages that are included. So part of a text feature, and then or a short story, and then a comic book story. And of course, we do things like this for Marvel Kids. This is the Avengers Beginnings, which was done in a somewhat different style. The artist being Luke Ross, who is a major Marvel artist. So, of course, we have him working on the kids' books. And then a lot of you will be probably have questions about the books that we're developing for Red Giant. Well, we have a couple coming out. The Mike Deodato sketchbook. This is a hardcover. We're still waiting on the shipment of these. We turned in the book last year. And waiting for them to come into bookstores. Some just lovely artwork from Deodato. And this is the 80-page deluxe hardcover edition that has the bonus color section in the back. And we're very happy with how this turned out. So some wonderful artwork over the past 20-some years of him working with Glass House. It's a nice embossed front cover under the dust jacket. So we also have a couple other books that we're still waiting for delivery on. Jinky Coronado's Bonsai Girl. Nice hardcover edition with some nice design on the inside. All full color, beautifully done. And of course, Exposure. And now Exposure and Bonsai Girl, you've probably seen serialized over on keenspot.com. If you haven't seen it there, go to exposure.keenspot.com. There's also bonsaigirl.keenspot.com, and also jadewarriors.keenspot.com, which will have 3 of our series that you can watch 100% for free. Check them out, post your comments, let us know what you think. So in addition to all that, we do about 40 comic books a month. No kidding, 40 comics a month. And I have some of them on the rack back here. So All-Star Western, Angel and Faith, The Avengers, Batman, Superman, Birds of Prey, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Captain America and the Mighty Avengers, Green Hornet, Grimm. These will soon be replaced by other books. And okay, Jonah Hex, Lobo, New Avengers, Nightwing, Original Sin, Phantom Stranger, Red Sonja, The Twilight Zone, Spider-Man, Star Wars, Suicide Squad. You get the idea. So about 40 books every single month, not including all the kids' books we do. So that makes Glass House Graphics the largest supplier of artists and projects on the planet. So I'm pretty proud of that. I'm awfully proud of the writers, the artists, letterers, colorists, painters, designers, and so forth that we have. And especially happy that so many of them have elected to stay with us so many years. I opened my office in the Philippines in 2000, and quite a few artists who joined us then are still with us, I'm proud to say. Wonderful guys, Wilson Tortosa, Bong Dazo, Anthony Tan, and Tina Francisco, and so many others. So I should have a list here, but I'd be going through 130 artists plus designers and so forth. And maybe I should put that all on a birthday card. One of the things that Glass House prides itself on is the ability to create entire projects. Thankfully, with a talent roster of more than 130 creators and wonderful writers along the lines of Mort Castle and David Lawrence and Kevin Jouer and Jinky and Coronado and so forth. We've been fortunate to be able to place a number of projects at various publishers over the year. But we still have some that are in development that we are starting to pitch. And here's one, Sherwood. Love this series. Sherwood. David Lawrence writing and Anthony Tan on the artwork. A wonderful concept of imagining if Maid Marian was the brains behind the whole thing, and Robin Hood was sort of a goofball who literally missed the boat on the Crusades. So it's a whole different take and very funny about the whole Robin Hood myth. Or Scandals, which I guess would be a romance book for people who don't like romance books. And because most romance books that were done in the US market, at least over the years, have been very sappy, let's say. So we decided to do real stories about relationships. And my idea was I would write some and I would go through our roster of great writers to each contribute stories to it. So that may be offered at some point. And David Lawrence and I came up with Warlords of Oz, which I think is a wonderful concept that we hope to resume pitching in the days to come. Warlords of Oz. Imagine World War II fought not America and Europe against the Germans and Japan, but Europe, us, the Germans, and Japan as unlikely allies against all the nasty stuff from Oz that comes over into our world. And oddball things like Hitler trying to invade Oz for the rubber trees and the magic. You know, anybody who controls rubber in World War II managed to take control of great areas. But if you control magic as well, he doesn't last very long. But I thought it was a great concept, marrying the concept of the good and the bad of Oz with and anchoring it in the whole history of World War II. I mean, there's so much stuff that's being done World War II oriented now, including Marvel's recent spin-off series. So it's I think a wonderful concept that we'll soon place somewhere. Modern Magic, another series that has been created by my guys. Mike Buckley, a writer who's been under the weather lately, but I hope he'll be making a comeback with us soon. Modern Magic, a different take on magical stuff, not quite a Harry Potter kind of thing, but no tea and crumpets on this one. A very American teenage girl learning magic at a school that teaches how to marry magic with technology. So I've not seen a story like this done in this way. I will say that I've been very happy to have all of you coming aboard to see what we've been doing. And if there's any questions that I can answer about Glasshouse Graphics stuff in the future, just post it on my Facebook page and I will be very happy to answer. And we can talk about on Facebook all through the day, because I'll be popping in and out as people have questions. I'm happy to talk about anything that we're doing for other companies that we're allowed to talk about. And happy to discuss any artist. If you are an editor or art director and would like to reach us, by all means do so. Also, in case you haven't seen it, this week we premiered the brand new glasshousegraphics.com website. The site hadn't been totally updated in probably 5 years. So we went with a brand new look, added whole new sections, revamped other sections, have new opportunities for artists' work to be seen. We have Links now, if somebody wants to download a portfolio of an artist, it's a one-click link. We have new sections talking about how to break into the business and what we're looking for and what to do and what not to do. So all that's there, and it can be a very great learning experience. If there's anyone above or among you that is an artist that's trying to break into comics, or a colorist that's breaking into comics, yes, we're still looking at portfolios. Yes, we're still adding people to our roster. Understand it's getting harder and harder because there's a limited amount of books being published out there, and everybody wants the best guys and gals, and we're happy to give it to them. But that means there's a lot of low range and middle range people that simply aren't going to get the work. So if you can follow all my advice, it's on my website and on my blog, which is simply davidcampiti.com. I'm trying to be very thorough in talking to people about what to do and especially what not to do when creating portfolios and submitting for editors and for us to see. A lot of you who follow me on Facebook know what my pet peeves are about making sure you label your artwork with your name, because you'd be amazed at how many people don't put their names on their files and then are shocked, mind you, when they don't get a response because we don't know who to contact. Thank you all. Bye-bye.